Hey everybody. Hi Tori. Who else is on here? So, crazy story. We have been social distancing in North Florida for, I don't know, 5 weeks. I'm not even sure what day it is anymore. And of course, the day that I decide I'm going to do this, the power goes out, the Wi Fi goes out. Because we're in the middle of nowhere, there's no um, cell service, all that fun stuff. So here we are. So we'll wait a few minutes and see if anyone else joins. If you're just joining and you have a question, type it into the comment section so that I can see it. And we'll get started in just a couple minutes. All right, so I'm going to start by answering a couple of things. One, I just want to say thanks for everyone who's joining, and wanted to do this just because I've had a lot of questions as a consultant doing fundraising and marketing consulting. I've had a lot of people ask me a bunch of different questions about what they should do, how they should, proceed in these times, what's working, what's not, and not that I have all the answers, but I've been lucky enough to be able to collaborate with a bunch of my colleagues, and there are some things that we can at least provide some tips on. So I did get a couple questions I'll share with you all, and then if any of you who've joined have any additional questions, write it in the comment section so I can see it, and I will do my best to answer it. But I did get a question today about this is from a nonprofit, and they wanted to know, how do they keep their board engaged while they're closed? So a couple things that come to mind. One is that it's a good time to just be in touch with people and be thanking your donors. And many boards, not all, but many boards and members of the boards have a hard time, kind of engaging and asking for money throughout the year. But many of them enjoy thanking donors. And so right now is a great time for your board to be reaching out to donors, to be saying thank you. Even if it's by text or a phone call or sending them an email. We've had some clients that have been working with their board members to come up with a schedule and giving them kind of a scripted message on what to say and how to say it, and they're reaching out to their donors. it's great because it keeps them front of mind for the donor, and it also allows the board members to remain engaged in the impact of the organization. So that's one thing. The other thing that we've seen is having board members kind of become advocates online. I know some members of boards are more socially active online than others. And so for the ones that are, I would recommend that you make them advocates. Have them react to your social media posts, have them share posts that you have them, help promote the work of the organization, especially if you're lucky enough to be asking for money right now for work that you're doing in the community in response to COVID-19. Have them activated on there. So I'd say turn them into some key thank you, members of your team, and reach out to your donors and have them advocate on social media. So those would be two things you guys could do to keep your donors engaged right now. Your board members engaged. We got another question about, when is the right time to ask for money? And there's a lot of organizations asking right now, but this organization wanted to make sure it's the right time. So I'll say this, it's not necessarily, it doesn't feel like the right time for everybody. So for example, we have a client who's working kind of in the health and human service side of things. They're visiting with families who need food. They're dropping off essential items. They're shopping for program members that are participating in their program. They're keeping in touch with people over the phone, providing support from a mental health perspective, things that seem fairly essential right now. Those are the folks who are having the most success asking for money, because what they're sharing to their audience is highly relevant to what people are feeling in the economy and in the community. So those ones are the ones that I've seen that are doing the best. It doesn't mean that you can't ask your donors for money. It just means you really need to have a conversation with some folks, check in on them, and really kind of gauge where they're at. A lot of donors have businesses. A lot of those businesses are impacted by what's happening right now. So the resources and their ability to support their local community may be impacted. But on the other hand, there's businesses who are really getting creative with their production, what they're able to do with their supply to be able to respond to the needs in the community. So I think that it really depends, but the ones that I'm seeing that are having the most success right now are those that are providing services that are relevant to the situation that's going on or the needs that people have at the moment. So I would recommend that you have a conversation with your donor or your board, your fundraising team, and really kind of determine if it's the right time. I don't know that I'd be asking for event sponsorships right now. It doesn't mean you can't. But some of the organizations who are highly dependent on event sponsorships, I know many of you are postponing your events to the fall. And it's still good to have conversations with donors and keep them in the loop about what's going on. They will come back, but will they give right now? It depends. So I think you need to do kind of that active listening as a fundraiser and really be thinking about what's best for the next step in the relationship, and be listening to what they're going through as well to figure out how you continue to work together. So there's that. Hi, Christina. Hi, Alex. Glad you guys could join. The last question that I received kind of prior to this was, how can I attract more interaction on social media? And so this could apply to a nonprofit or a for-profit business, but there's a couple different things that are just great strategies to keep in mind. One is using hashtags. And I know a lot of us see people post things with hashtags, but it really is a great opportunity to use a hashtag in a way that will access another kind of community or body of people that are interested in that subject. So if I follow somebody, that is interested in generosity or childcare or diapers or, a million other things, if I use those hashtags in my post, it will go out to other folks that have an interest in those subjects. So it kind of broadens your audience from that perspective. So those are good to use. I tag other people in your posts. You know, we're all on social media right now, kind of staying up to the minute on what's happening in our community. And so being able to tag people or businesses or pages that you want to see what you're doing is a great way to also expand your audience. It also expands your post or your messages into their feeds. And so then they're seeing it and their audience is seeing it and they're sharing it. So don't be afraid to tag people, tag businesses or organizations that you would like to also expand your message to. So that's a great thing to do. Another thing is to share a story. We all like to kind of see pictures, share video, do something that's interactive. And so a lot of times, many businesses or organizations kind of put out that message that's just mostly text. And it's kind of like, you guys need to do this to help me. And so instead, it's kind of, kind of turning the table and saying, here's what we're doing. Do you want to be a part of it? Or this is what we're good at. Can we help you do something? Or here's a story about a customer or something that we're doing as a business that's impacting the community right now, or that we're thinking about, or that we're supporting. That gives it more of a human element as opposed to just text on a page and no pictures or no video. So we all have phones. Most of us have computers that have cameras. And so I know it seems like, some of us don't like to get on them, but use it. Use it to take a picture. It doesn't have to be high quality. Use it to take a video. It doesn't have to be high quality. People just want to see interaction. And so that will help your posts as well. So is there anyone that's joined us that has any questions or comments about things that are happening in their world that they might like to know a little bit more about? Give you guys a chance to respond. Tori, if you're still watching, how's it going with your nonprofit? Is there anything that you guys have run into that has been challenging in the last few weeks? I know you guys have been responding to a lot of needs in Pinellas County and actually all over the Tampa Bay area. How do you find good hashtags? Well, that's a good question, Matt Smith. So there's a website called Twubs. It's actually a spot to register hashtags, but you can also search hashtags on that site. And I'm going to respond to you so that you have that. But you can look on there and see what hashtags are in use, which ones are getting the most traction, how people are using them, where they're showing up. So that would be a good place to look for hashtags. And you can search all kinds of things on there. You can actually register hashtags as well on that platform, so that if your business or your organization wants to use a certain type of hashtag all the time, you can register it under your profile, and then it will send you like social updates and activity updates on what's happening with it, which is kind of cool. Matt, you asked if you overwhelm a post with hashtags, is it a bit awkward? I think so. I don't get carried away. I'd use like 2 or 3 hashtags at the most. Things and not ones that are like super long, where it takes up lines and lines of the post. I would kind of keep it short, keep it to 1 or 2 words. It also kind of broadens where your post will end up kind of creeping into as far as audience goes. So I wouldn't use, a 5 or 6 word hashtag, something that's a little bit shorter. Hi, Jeff Stewart. Thanks for joining. Alex, what's happening in your world? Is there anything new from a marketing side that you're hearing that people have questions about? Something else that we've been working on is, it's a really good time to be updating your websites. I know even myself always have that on the schedule to do, but don't have enough time to do it. This is a good time to update your site and just really think about, going through your pages, looking at where people are landing, where they're spending the most time, maybe updating content on those high traffic areas so that, as customers or donors, people come back to your site, that they're just intentionally finding information that's relevant to them, and that you're kind of thinking through your strategy. I know we've been pivoting fairly quickly on different types of services that we're doing, and we're spending a lot of time on the marketing side right now, just helping people tell their stories and get information out. But on our website, we've spent some time kind of just revamping it, making it easier for people to find information so they don't have to search so much. So Matt, you have a question about Instagram stories. I think Instagram's worth it. There's a lot of people looking at Instagram right now. It's, kind of one of those platforms that, it's becoming popular in a different way than Facebook or LinkedIn. It has a different use than that. But I would highly recommend that if you have an Instagram page, that you keep it updated. It's very visual, and so people are attracted to that. So I would say if you have the time and you're willing to put the work into keeping up with it, it's a great one to do. I use Hootsuite to update posts for social media. So we have, can put everything into one place and schedule it that way, including Instagram. So that might help from just a work standpoint, but coming up with the content is, I think, worth it on Instagram. What other burning questions do you guys have? Oh, hi, Jessica. How are you? Glad you could join us. Something else to maybe consider, just from a workflow perspective. There are a couple teams that we're working with that are responding very directly to the COVID-19 crisis in their communities. I know that, just as people that are out there and all of you are connected with others, kind of keeping your ears open and listening to what organizations are working hard right now to help address issues with members of the community. I know that there's been a spike in people needing help paying their bills, people needing help, with rent assistance or utilities. Childcare will be coming as an issue as people start to go back to work. But really thinking and listening about what businesses are going to be doing and who they can support, and helping to link organizations to that. I think as a business, it's important for us to contribute to the community as best we can, especially when things are hard. But those social service organizations are also going to be supporting many of our workforces and helping to get employees back to work and helping them stabilize their families so they continue to work. So, just be listening to how to connect those two groups together. It's not always easy on either side to figure out who to support or who needs support. So if you are a member of your community and kind of part of that process, whether on a board or a volunteer, help make that connection, because that's going to be really important, I think, in the coming months and year. right, you guys. Well, I am going to wrap this session up. It is starting to rain here. Hopefully there's not a tornado. But if you have any additional questions and you don't get a chance to ask, please feel free to send me a comment. We'll continue to do these probably weekly. So if you have friends or know folks who need some questions answered or just want some clarification without paying the high price tag of a consultant, then please invite them to come and join in. It's the least I can do to kind of help everybody continue to move along, and happy to do it. So thank you guys all for coming and joining, and we'll see you soon.